Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week, I predicted that number 1 would be Solo, a Star Wars story. Number 2 would be Deadpool 2. Number 3 would be Upgrade. Number 4 would be Avengers Infinity War. And number 5 would be Action Point. And I only got 3 out of 5 of my predictions right, which is a little bit understandable. At least I got a little, 3 out of 5, at least it's not like a 2 or 1, but still, there are a couple risky choices I made with my predictions for sure, so let's go over what actually happened in the top 10. Number 1 was once again Solo, a Star Wars story, dropping by 65%, like around that. Now, the Last Jedi had like a drop of like 67%, so obviously that had the bigger drop, but at least The Last Jedi opened at around like 220 and dropped to like 70 million, whereas Solo opened around 80 million and has now dropped to $29 million, adding to a domestic total of 148 million. Now, I think for sure it will get to 200 million domestically, but Jesus Christ, that has got to be so underwhelming for Disney and Lucasfilm, especially since the early estimations were so huge for this thing. And on the worldwide chart, it is only sitting at 264 million right now, and the budget still needs to get to about half a billion, and then even more than that too, because they definitely spent a little bit more on this particular film. So wow, this has got to be a huge disappointment for them. And I was giving them credit too, like it's not that bad of an opening, guys. At least it's still going to grow, but Jesus, I did not expect the drop to be this kind of big, and now it is only about 6 million away from the number 2 film, which is Deadpool 2, it had a pretty big drop last weekend, but it's still holding out much better than Solo right now. And the fact that Deadpool, a character who just now recently became really popular amongst audiences, whereas Star Wars has been popular for so long, now Deadpool is doing like slightly better, like that's gotta be a big blow to them right now. But Deadpool 2 made $23 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of 254, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 598 million. So right now, it hasn't made more than the first Deadpool, but the fact that it's still doing better than Solo, a Star Wars story, that's the real victory here. The fact that Disney tried to buy 20th Century Fox, but right now a 20th Century Fox product is making more money than a Disney one. And also, I still have no idea if Disney's going to buy them. Like, I'm hearing it's Comcast now. It's really confusing, but we don't need to talk about that right now. Number 3 was not Upgrade, it was Adrift, making 11 million. And I wasn't really that sure about this film because it is based on a true story film, but it's one that I wouldn't really imagine many would want to sit through. Maybe Sam Claflin and Shailene Woodley being in it got people in the seats, but an $11 million opening still won't really cover the $35 million budget, especially when you have to double that. So it's not doing great right now, but it did better than I thought, just ranking-wise, so there's that at least. Number 4, we have Avengers Infinity War continuing to crush it, making $10 million, adding to a domestic total of $642 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $1.964 billion, so only $36 million away from getting to $2 billion worldwide. So Disney, Solo may not be doing you wonders, but Avengers is still killing it. Just remember, Marvel is basically the new Star Wars now. If you really think about it, Marvel is the new Star Wars. Moving on to number 5, we have Book Club, which made $6 million, adding to a domestic total of 47, about to get to half $100 million. Domestically, so that's pretty good for this film. Had a low budget and was able to make even more than that, so yay for the movie that no one's going to remember in about a month. Number 6 was where we get to Upgrade, which is actually a little better than what they were originally estimating it to get that. Like, they were predicting like number 9. The fact that it's at number 6 is a little better. It only made about $4 million though. The budget is, according to Wikipedia, like between 3 and 5 million. I'm going to assume 5 million though, because there are some CG effects that probably wouldn't be about 3 million. I'm assuming this was a more costly project for Blumhouse, but still, the fact that it's almost at a doubling point of 5 million is still good though. It's not a horrible opening, I wish this movie did so much better because it's so fantastic. If you haven't seen it yet, I really do highly recommend it. It is so good. Moving on to number 7, we have Life of the Party, making $3 million, adding to a domestic total of 46 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 54. So it needs 6 million to get to the doubling point of its budget. I'm assuming it's going to be here next weekend. Maybe it can get to that point. maybe not though. I don't really care too much, honestly, about this movie. So let's move on to number 8, which is Breaking In, making $2.8 million, adding to a domestic total of $41 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $43 million. So it's almost at $50 million worldwide, half $100 million. So that's pretty good for Breaking In. I doubt we're gonna see it next weekend because we have quite a few movies coming out, but yay, it's made money. I've talked about this before. Moving on to number 9, which was quite surprising to me, which is Action Point. Now, I'm surprised, but also not surprised. I figured this movie wouldn't make a whole lot because I figured the Johnny Knoxville jackass train kind of slowed down, but to 2.3 million? Jesus Christ. And this movie also cost $19 million to make, on the budget, so the fact that it just opened with this and you just have this dud in the theater now, that's got to be a huge disappointment for them. I think the Jackass days, even though obviously people have fond memories over them, I think those kind of days are over, and a movie like Action Point isn't going to revitalize that anytime soon. So let's close out this video. Number 10, Overboard, making $1 million, adding to a domestic total of $45 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 57, when an Anna Faris, Eugenio Derbez remake of a Kurt Russell movie does better than a Johnny Knoxville movie. Stupendous. Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. I'm going to go number 1, Ocean's 8. I think that's kind of obvious. And this next one is a little risky, but what the heck, I'm going to go for it. Hotel Artemis. I think this movie is actually going to get there. Number 3, I think, will be Solo, a Star Wars story. Number 4, Deadpool 2. And then number 5, I think, will be Hereditary. I think the numbers will drop down low enough that Hereditary's numbers will actually get it into the top 5. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below. And if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.